Morning, everybody. Morning drive today. An interesting topic. Think about this line for a second. Cheap agents aren't skilled. Skilled agents aren't cheap. And let's think about that for a second, because in this marketplace, in your marketplace, in all of our marketplaces right now, there are way too many people in this industry. It's way too easy to get into this business. The barrier to entries are pretty much non-existent. And everybody just gets their license thinking that it's easy. And that creates an interesting scenario, because now you have the ultimate situation where you have value and price, right? That's the ultimate conundrum, if you will. So if you can't compete on value, you have to compete on price. And if you're going to compete on price, then you're not going to compete on value. So what I want you to do is figure out what side of this equation are you really on, and stop trying to blend the line, because there's no ability to blend this line, guys. So when you're going to a listing presentation, you're either the one that says all the things that you say and makes them say, oh my gosh, I am so lucky to have you in my corner. Your representation ability, your ability to negotiate, your ability to market is unparalleled, second to none. I'm honored to be in your presence. I am honored to have you represent us. Where do I sign? Right? That's value. Or you're the one that says, I'm a whore, I'll do it for 2%. Right? And then where's your value proposition? It's not that you're amazing. It's not that you have value. It's not that you're doing an amazing job of representation, negotiation, or marketing. It's that you're being a whore and you're discounting yourself down to the point because that's your value. And what are you? And it's okay as long as you own up to the fact of which one are you. So are you a value proposition or are you price driven? Because what's going on in the industry is the threat of commoditization, as you guys know. And that only happens when there's a blurred line between value and price. If a consumer starts to think about you as just a realtor, right, an agent, right, salesperson, whatever you want to call yourself, trusted advisor, if you're fancy, right, whatever you are, if they have to know what's your value, because where they're getting confused is they said Susie will do it for 5%, Bob said he'd do it for 4.5%, and Iglesias over here said he'll do it for 3.5%, and the other one said that they'll do it for 6%. So they sit back and say, why is one 3.5, one's 4, one's 4.5, one's 5, and one's 6? They said they're going to do it, right? And that's the biggest fault that I believe a lot of agents are falling into right now, especially the ones that I'm watching. And you're saying, okay, where is the confusion? Because if they think that you are going to do the same thing as somebody else, then you've already lost. Because where is your differentiating factor? What is your unique selling proposition? What are you bringing to the table that the other guys simply are not? Are you value or are you price? Now, if you're price, own it. Hi, I'm a whore. I will do it for 2%. Sign here. What are you going to do? I'm going to do nothing except put you in the MLS. And there you go. Or I'm even the worst whore on the planet. Give me $1.50. I'll put you in the MLS with your phone number on it. And don't ever call me. I'm going to be at the beach having a beer. Right? There's your value prop. Be it, own it, and do it. But stop pretending that you're a high value, low price, because those things don't make sense. The general public knows that. So stop having the confusion. So what are you? Are you the Mac Daddy of the mall, right? And you walk in commanding your price because you don't even have to say it, because your value is so appreciated that they're happy to pay you because they see way more value in the cost that you charge, right? So I really want you to look inside and think about your presentations right now. And are you driven towards value? Are you driven towards price? Or are you just pretending you're just like everybody else? Because if you're pretending you're just like everybody else, you're going to be like everybody else. And most everybody else is broke, right? And there's no differentiating factor. And there's no real happiness because there's no things that are happening that are exciting. So stop it. Get clear on your value prop. And I am urging you to be value prop driven, right? And then if you want to be the price guy, be the price guy. You want to be the value girl, be the value girl. But own it, put your stake in the stand and say, this is what I am, and bring that value out there. I was working with some clients this week and we were talking about an interesting scenario. So they've got a very amazing property, right? We'll put it at that. It's $5 million plus, beautiful piece of beachfront property as a single family home, and it's unlike anything else out there. It's basically brand new. It's spectacular. And they started toying with the idea of selling the property, and they had a bunch of people here that they were thinking about selling their property, and running over and talking with them and saying, well, let me show you my magazine. Let me show you my advertisement. Let me show you this. 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 Let me show you how I market. Let me show you where I'm going to promote it. And then it was an interesting scenario because they called me and they said, can we talk to you? And I just went over to talk to him because I know the guys pretty well. And I said, look, I'll help you sort through your scenarios. I don't care who you use. It doesn't matter to me. I want to make sure that you make the right choice for you. So I said, tell me who you're talking with. Tell me what they're saying. So they were going through the scenarios about how they all said that they're going to do global this and international that, and this brochure and it's going to do this and this website here and that book here, and this is the readership that the high end is going to be reading, and it was blah 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 blah. And I'm sitting there kind of smiling a little bit and said, guys, let's be honest for a second. Let's be real. I said, where are you moving to? And they told me the city they're moving to. And I said, do you have any idea the neighborhood you want to move into? They said, yeah. And have you looked at any houses there yet? They said, no, we've driven through and we're checking out online. I said, let me bet you something right now. I said, if I were to grab your phone, I bet you have a few different real estate apps open that you are actively looking on. And they said, yeah. I said, well, let me guess. It's Zillow and Realtor.com. I said, yep. Okay. And let me go a little further. Do you have a saved search set up? Of course. Right. So anything that happens in this zip code, in this area, they say, oh no, we've actually drawn a little area around exactly where we want to be, and anything that comes up in that market, we get immediately notified. So are you working with an agent over there? They said, no, we're doing it ourselves because we're just kind of seeing what's available because we're going to sell this house first. I said, okay. I said, so you yourself proved how real estate is done today. And because you guys are extremely high-end luxury clients, you're searching just like everybody's searching. And that's how everybody searches. The home search game is over. Guys, collectively, we lost over. You know who won. Zillow won it. Realtor.com won it. And, the brand websites still have a pretty decent shot of it. But everything else, the C21s and the Remax and the Caldwells, they still get their hits, right? But far, 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 far and away is Zillow and Realtor.com. So everybody who is looking for properties is going to check those sites. It's true. I don't care if it's a $120,000 townhouse or it's a $12 million property, they're showing up. Where's our value add now? Because the agents started to look silly the more we started chatting, because I started to explain to them how the search is over. So where's the real value? And most of the agents were pitching how they were going to position the property in the search, and it's over. Right? That's not where it was. That used to be where it was, and the magazines might have worked before everybody started doing absolutely everything with this, and now game's over. So where's the value now? So we pivoted the conversation and we moved the entire basis point of the entire conversation to what's really important to them and who they decide to hire to get their property for sale. I mean, guys, this is a very large financial asset, huge financial asset. And the most important thing in my mind for them is who's going to have their back in a negotiation, who's going to be able to sell the value, who's not going to be pushed over on price, and who's going to be able to sell and connect with the clients to make them feel as comfortable as humanly possible when they're inside that home, to eliminate any doubt, fears, and anxieties they may have, and be able to present the home in the language structures that those people are actually deep-rooted inside, whether they're D personalities, eyes, S, or C, are they visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, right? How do they process information? What's their attraction strategies? What are their buying strategies? How can you elicit that information out of them with a simple conversation? These are the conversations that I was having with these sellers that nobody else is having with them, right? So they were just scratching their heads and saying, I hadn't thought about that. Then we started talking a lot about representation. Who even talked about how they're going to represent you? Who even talked about what they're going to do from a negotiation? Who talks about how they pre-qualify their buyers? I know they said that they would, but who actually told you how and what and how important, and slanted the entire conversation to what's in your best interest, right? That's where the basis point is, guys. They talk about value versus price. This is 100% all about value, right? And value game has changed. The ball on the field is completely different, and it is no longer about anything else other than what you can bring that's going to be in their best interest. Who can they like? Who can they trust? Who they going to care about? And who's really got their back, right? And I don't care what price point it is, guys. It could be a $52,000 trailer, right? To them, it's the exact same as a $52 million beach house, right? It's ultimately who's got my back, who's going to take care of me, and who's good at what they do, right? We talk about those three things a lot. So I want you to really figure out from a value proposition, what are you bringing to the table? And are you value or are you price? There's a but for every seat, right? That's just the way you got to look at it. There's the guys who are driving the Rolls, and there's the guys who are driving the Kias. And they're both cars, and they'll both get you to where they want, and they're both cool for what they are, and nothing against either of them, but there's a completely different experience in one versus a completely different experience with other. One is completely sold on value. One is completely sold on price. Which one are you? You need to figure it out, and you need to make sure that all of your materials and your branding speaks your truth, because don't try to blend them, guys, because you can't have a Rolls Kia. It doesn't work. Right? Which one are you?